Hi everybody, have you ever wondered why goods like flood defences, road signs, street lights, roads, beaches, traffic lights, lighthouses, the military defence are all goods provided by the government and not through the market mechanism themselves where we directly pay for them? Well, the simple reason is that they are examples of public goods. Pure public goods have got two fundamental characteristics. They are non-excludable and they are non-rival. Very weird, very unique characteristics that apply to pure public goods here, and very much the opposite of what the characteristics of a private good are. What is non-excludability? Well, non-excludability means that no price can be charged for a public good that excludes others that haven't paid. And there are two reasons why maybe no price can be charged for a public good. One is that the benefits of consuming the good cannot be confined just to the individual who's paid for it. That's a very weird characteristic, because normally when we go to a shop, let's say, and we buy a chocolate bar, if we consume that chocolate bar, only we get the benefit, not other people around us who haven't paid. Not the case for a public good. Even if someone pays, those people around might be able to benefit in exactly the same way without having paid for it. Very strange. But also, maybe no price can be charged because there might not be a cost-efficient way of pricing. Maybe the way of pricing is too expensive. It's not maybe an efficient way of pricing. But public goods are also non-rival, and that means that the quantity available of the good does not diminish upon consumption. Again, that's really weird. Go back to my chocolate bar example. If we consume a chocolate bar, there's one less available for everybody else, right? Not the case for a public good. If somebody consumes it, the quantity available remains exactly the same for everybody else that wants to consume it. Very strange and unique characteristics here. And if we apply it to some of these examples, you'll see how it holds. So take street lights as an example. No price can be charged because as soon as someone pays, the benefits cannot be confined just to that person. Everybody else around can also enjoy the street light and consume it. Also, you can argue maybe there is no cost-effective way to price. There are also non-rival street lights because when they're consumed, the quantity available does not diminish for everybody else. So just because you might have paid for a street light, it turns on, and you stop using it, it doesn't just switch off automatically. It stays on for everybody else. The quantity available does not diminish upon consumption. You can argue the same thing for beaches. Take beaches as an example here. I'd say it's not excludable because of number 2 here. There is no cost-efficient way to price. In theory, there is a way. Private producers could build walls, right, and exclude people from accessing the beach and then have booths, so people have to pay to enter a beach. But that's not cost-effective at all. It's a very expensive thing to do for a private producer. And also beaches are non-rival, where the quantity of the beach doesn't diminish upon consumption. Beaches are massive, right? So just because one person enters a beach, it doesn't reduce the amount available to others. So those characteristics apply. You can do it for all of these different examples of public goods here. The issue is that because of these two characteristics, we get to the free rider problem, where individuals have the incentive not to contribute anything at all to the provision of the public good because they'll wait for others to contribute and then free ride off their contributions. And they know they can do that because the benefits can't be confined just to the person that's paid, so they themselves can benefit without paying. They also know that if that person does pay and they consume, the same amount will be available for them to consume as well. So the incentive is for individuals not to pay for public goods themselves, but to wait for others to pay and to free ride off their contributions. Now the big problem there is that if everybody acts that way, no one's going to pay towards the provision of public goods at all. There will be no contributions, and therefore there is no private motive to supply them. Why would a private firm supply them if no one's going to pay, and therefore there is no chance of making profit here? So if no private firm is going to supply, there is going to be absolutely none supplied in the free market, zero supply in the free market. The end result will be a missing market, complete market failure, the worst kind of market failure, because clearly there is huge demand for all of these things, massive demand, very socially desirable goods here. But if there is going to be no supply, you've got the worst kind of market failure, complete market failure and a missing market. But it's important, guys, that we don't just stop there. We need to be thinking a bit deeper, because if we agree with that conclusion, it means for all of these goods, the only solution is for governments to provide them using tax revenue. But if we can maybe evaluate, we can maybe find unique ways of agreeing for private provision. And one way of evaluating is by looking at the notion of a quasi-public good. A quasi-public good is a public good that sometimes shows the pure characteristics of a public good, so both characteristics, but sometimes will show the characteristics of a private good, i.e. it can be excludable or it can be rival. And two good examples are roads and beaches. And if we agree on that, then maybe we can find a way for private provision somehow. So take roads. Can roads be excludable? Absolutely they can, through toll roads. Now toll roads might not be the most efficient way of pricing, but it certainly can be done. And with technology improving in the world, it doesn't have to be a physical toll booth. It could be like a camera that scans a license plate and takes money away from a car, let's say. Electronic road pricing like we see in Singapore. So roads certainly could be excludable, which changes the game completely. Roads can also be rival, right, during peak times, during congestion times, where road space does diminish upon consumption. So you can argue that roads are a quasi-public good here. You could argue the same thing for beaches. Could beaches be excludable? Absolutely. If maybe a hotel could own a beach and only provide access to the beach for those who have actually paid to use the hotel. That way, beaches become excludable. Beaches could also be rival during peak times, congestion times, summer holiday periods, where one person using the beach might actually reduce the availability to others if the beach is already massively congested. So if that's the case, if we can get to this conclusion for some public goods that might be argued to be pure, then maybe we can find a way to argue that private provision might be able to take place instead of having to go towards government in allocating resources to these public goods. And always think about the role of technology. I mentioned technology when it comes to making roads excludable, but technology certainly has helped in maybe finding more cost-effective ways to price, and therefore maybe making pure public goods not public goods anymore, but maybe private goods. Very interesting evaluation there to consider. Anyway, so that's public goods and why pure public goods can lead to market failure, the worst kind, complete market failure and a missing market. Hopefully now you understand this topic well and you can smash it. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you all in the next video.